in yourself, because this is an investment in your mindset. Yes. Yeah.
I think we're too close, me and him together, because it wasn't doing it before I turned it on.
Testing.
Bueno,
Testing.
sí, probando. I think the speaker is too
No,
close.
los de Michoacán no necesitamos micrófono. If you're from Michoacán, you don't need a microphone.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
don't, right?
You should hear my
Hay
aunt.
otro micrófono allá, ¿no?
You know
You will hear them if you're within 250
in
yards of them.
Michoacán, we love,
It's good. Can you hear me? Ya no se escucha. Súbele poquito más.
¿Me lo cambio?
and we can't.
Just a little bit. Ahí está. Así déjalo así.
We're so excited.
Perfect.
to
Nomás
see
que
them
no haga
that
static.
If you're walking on the other side of the town and I see you,
Yeah.
you're my friend. Or,
Me lo voy a pegar.
Es que se hace...
I'm not going to wait to come over and say, hi, Mahala, how are you? I'm going to say,
Porque ahorita nomás para. Super sensitive.
and they do that.
¿Era el mío? Ah, ese es de Sergio.
No,
No,
es el mío.
Sergio está conectado. Es el de Juan.
Testing.
El de Sergio no se escucha.
And that's why we speak loud.
Is it turn on? Let me see. Sí
No, no lo tiene prendido. ¿El mío sí funciona?
está prendido. Ahora sí.
Testing.
Buenos días, Raúl. ¿Sí me escucho?
La verdad.
Testing.
Ay, perdón.
Testing.
Buenos días, Raúl. Buenos días, Andrés. ¿Sí se escucha?
¿Sergio habla?
Testing.
Hola, Andrés, ¿cómo estás? Good morning.
Testing.
Okay.
Testing.
What about me?
Anyways, I think one of the things that I want to hit home with them is the mindset, right? What are the myths that people think? Yesterday, I had a conversation with the prospect, and so I went to the gym, and I didn't take
Hello. Good morning.
my AirPods. So I was talking to these people. The guy speaks like from Michoacán.
Yeah.
Estábamos en el rancho y cuando andaba vendiendo.
18,
"Amigo, ¿dónde es?"
14.
18. So he's from Zamora. So I'm
Yeah.
like, where are you from? So we started talking. And he's like, I'm like, what do you do? Well, I drive a truck. Oh, that's cool. I used to drive a truck.
And then if you put it,
And then he tells me that, so I tell him, well, I'm in real estate. Really? My daughter wants to buy a house, but she wants to wait for next year for the prices to drop.
Yeah.
Testing.
This myth's still out there, like people are talking about it.
Yeah, we had a listing appointment. ¿Ya la pagó?
Ahora sí. Is it on? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello? Can you hear me? What's that? Can you hear me on the... Yeah? It's clear? Good morning, good morning. So we want to stay between the screens, right? Are we live already? Okay. Yeah. I'll just do a little intro. All right. That's it, like from here to here. Like right here, between the screen. Okay. Hay cafecito yo. Panecitos también. ¿Sí? Ah, y luego también. Y ahí está bien también.
Wealth Building Seminar, September 2025, the Grimaldo Group. Hey, buenos días, good afternoon, good evening.
Bien, Fernando.
Reserved seating?
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo está?
I wonder how much these people paid for the seats. ¿Cuánto pagarían?
¿De veras?
Bueno. Vamos a... Yeah. Today we have the honor of hearing from awesome speakers like Regina Duran, Juan Grimaldo, and Zachary Keps. Say that. Oh, that's the next one. I'm practicing.
Oh, yeah. And then they went in there, they're like, dude, it's not working. Yeah. No way. Yeah. It's probably like close to sold out, so they probably like froze it. Do an accounting.
Ok, vamos a tomarnos un cafecito. Vamos a ver cómo está la cosa. ¿Esta es leche? Why is it blocked up?
I think that way on still.
Órale.
Oh, I see. To the left. Okay.
How are we doing today, sir? How did you hear about this seminar? Awesome.
His son is in the real estate business.
Woo! Is he on our team? What? I think he sat next to Andres so much that he was like, I got this. All right, to all the TikTok live people, just so you know, this seminar is going to be from 10 to 1 p.m. So go grab your coffees.
It's 10 o'clock, guys. Let's just honor people's times and get started here
When
soon.
you're done, tráemelo para...
Okay. Sorry about that. How's everybody doing? All right. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Those people still showing up, so we'll wait a few minutes. Why not? Uh,
Claro, claro, claro. No. For sure. Yeah, yeah. What up?
Good morning. It's been a while. All right, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Welcome. Good morning. I'm sure people will continue to show up, and that's awesome. So, first of all, I want to just take the temperature in your room. Who's worked with us before? You know, you have. Thank you. And as the agents, have we represented you at all? No. Okay. You know, Fernando has. Thank you, Fernando, for working with us. Okay, Susie, you too, right? So, thank you guys. Jorge as well. Gio, not yet. His son's working with us. Very good. So, first of all, I wanted to see who's here has invested in real estate at all. Virgil? Okay. Awesome. What kind of investing have you done so far?
Single family, short rental, midterm rental.
Okay. Oh, nice. So you've been doing quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Good, good. So what kind of work do you do?
I run a business, a facility company that does building maintenance for hospital.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Well, first of all, thank you guys for spending your morning here with us. I know there's plenty of other things you could be doing, like sleeping or maybe hiking like I do. I enjoy hiking and going out in the mountains. It's a way for me to disconnect and enjoy. So thank you for being here. And one of the things that I want to talk about first is mindset. Many of us were raised a certain way, right? I was raised in when I was growing up, my father rented a room. I was 11 years old. I remember this vividly. This kind of shaped my mind. My father was renting a room. We slept in a mattress on the floor. It was my mom, my dad, and myself. And I didn't like living that way. Even though I was a little kid, I was conscious about that. And I'm like, how did this guy owns a home and my father cannot do it? And it wasn't because my father wasn't able to afford it. It was because he didn't have the mindset to purchase a home. His idea was to go back home and live in Mexico, which I don't blame him for that. I mean, he worked his butt off here since 1948 until he retired when he was in the 60s. And to him, that was the dream that came true. And we lived in Mexico and he was fine. He lived a beautiful life. But for me, it always kind of hit me hard to live that way because we were moving every single year. I went to like 6 elementary schools, like 4 different junior highs and like 4 different high schools. And I hated it. So to me, it was like, I want to own a home. I want my kids to go to one school. They did. So all of the things that I wanted to do, I was able, thanks to God, to do those things. And one of the things that I feel was a game changer for that is the mindset that I had, right? I wanted to do different things. I wanted to do things differently. And where I came from didn't have to determine where I was going to. And for many people, what they know is what they live with, what they grew up with. And that becomes your mold, right? So growing up, I've always been curious and I always wanted to learn how do people do it? How do rich people get richer, right? So there's actually a path to follow. And you guys have probably heard this concept is success leaves clues. What does that mean? That means that other people have lived before you and other people have done it before you and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the reason we started doing these seminars is because I started investing 6 years ago, and you guys might have heard the story, but I'm still going to repeat it again because I think it's worth noting how I changed from just helping people buy and sell their homes. And a lot of you guys work in construction, do these kinds of jobs. You guys have amazing incomes, but the thing is, sometimes we make so much money and we spend it, or instead of investing it. Morning of that. And it's not that we want to, it's just that we don't know what to do with it, right? A lot of us will go buy a stupid car or you know, a crazy vacation, which I think you should do it if you deserve it, because you work for that, right? It's good to travel and enjoy, but also you want to think ahead. And one of the things that, going back to as I was growing up, is I lived in the mindset that what if I die tomorrow? I'm going to spend everything that I have, I'm going to enjoy my life because I don't know if I'm going to die tomorrow. But then I started changing that question and asking, what if I don't? What if I last a little longer? And working in this industry has opened up my eyes to see that a lot of people will get to their retirement and not be able to retire. Not only that, I have a friend of mine or a client who I love him. He's 72 years old and has 2 jobs. Who here wants to have 72 freaking years old and work 2 jobs? I don't think any of us, right? Well, if we don't think about it, if we just go to work and then the weekend we party, we have fun, and then we go to work, before you know it, you're going to get to that point where you think you're going to retire, you're not going to be able to. So what I'm trying to achieve with this is it changed my life. I'm not there yet, and I don't want to say that I ever arrived because this is a continuous growth path that we're in, right? We're not there yet. We're never going to get there. But the point of this is, how do I continue to invest in myself, first of all, because you cannot outgrow yourself. And this is another powerful point to note, is the only way you're going to get ahead or further is by growing yourself. Remember, have you guys heard of people that win the lottery, or maybe in the news or some shows, where they end up broke again, right? What do you guys think that is? They don't know what to do with it, right? Exactly. So they're in their mindset, they're still poor, right? So if you don't change the way you think about yourself, you're always going to be that poor person. And not saying that there's nothing wrong with being poor. It's okay. Like, I'm poor, right? But the point of that is, how do I change my mind so that I can get to be that person that becomes a millionaire? I'm going to give you guys a bad example because a lot of people, it's not to be controversial, but Trump was a billionaire, right? He's still a billionaire, but before he went broke, and a lot of people gave him crap about that because he filed bankruptcy several times. You guys have heard about that, right? And people say, well, that guy was, you know, a billionaire, became a millionaire, but in his mindset, he's not a millionaire. He has a billionaire mindset. So he goes back to being a billionaire very easily. So when you have that path, when you say, you know what, I'm comfortable with this certain income, you're going to be able to do that because of the person you become, not by the things you do. Because a lot of people work really hard. And I say this with love. If the hardest worker is the person that is the richest, I mean, the construction worker or the people that does the hardest work should be the millionaires, right? Or the richest people, but it's not the case. It's what you do with the wealth you're able to accumulate. They did a study, and this blew my mind. Teachers and engineers are some of the wealthiest people. And teachers you guys can agree to that, right? They don't make a lot of money, but it's because of what they learn and how they do things that takes them to become wealthy. So our goal here is that you guys walk away with a little more knowledge than you came in. Maybe with that tip that's going to take you to the next level. So the first thing, like I said, that I would challenge you guys with is to change your mindset. And for those of you that are taking the time to be here, I want to applaud you. Please give you guys an applause. Because you're taking the first step towards becoming wealthier little by little. And I didn't finish the story, so let me take you guys back to the person that changed my life, and it was a landscaper. This guy, I know he was an investor, so I would bring him deals, right? And at this point, I called him up and I said, dude, look at this guy. He's listed a property for $117,000. This house is worth $170,000. This realtor does not know what he's doing. So we go see the house, and he's like, tells me, Juanito, I like it. Let's buy it. He buys the cash, and as soon as he closes, he says, Juanito, why didn't you buy it? And it kind of hit me. Like, I didn't think about that. I was just trying to make my $5,000 commission. I didn't think about the $60,000 equity that could have gotten in making that a rental. So this is something that changed my mind into how I saw every single listing that I go to. So now when I go to see someone that's going to list their home, of course I'm going to do the best for their interest, in their best interest. But if they don't want to sell, to someone, a regular buyer, and just sell quick, then I put my investor hat, and then I'm going to be able to buy it. So recently, we just acquired 2 properties in the last month, and we've been buying property ever since. And needless to say, we built a small, pretty good portfolio. And one thing that I want to emphasize, this is not about getting rich quick. It's not a quick get-rich-quick scheme. Most of those end up in the wrong position, right? So think about 5-10 years. So for those of you that are considering investing, don't think that this is going to be an overnight success. Yes, people that bought in 2019, they did amazing. So did people that bought in 2014, and so did those that bought in 2010. So if you see the pattern, there's real estate is always going to go up, and the guys are going to show you guys how that works with proven graphs that you guys can search on your own. And one of the things that I would encourage you guys to do also is do your own research, okay? And also start thinking about what books should I read. One that I highly recommend, if you guys want to make note of this, it's called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. It was written by Gary Keller. I used to be a Keller Williams, and that guy is like the Einstein of real estate. I mean, he studies real estate very deep. And the concepts there are very simple, yet powerful. They can take you to the next level. And I'm in this journey with you guys. I'm learning. And again, I want to thank you guys for being here. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Raul so he can continue introducing people. And I hope you guys take note, make a lot of notes, and learn as much as you can. All right? Thank you, guys.
Well, it's a great honor to be here, seeing all you guys show up. It's really hard to follow that. Like, we literally can just go home right now. The seminar's done, guys. Just do what he said. But definitely, we have a lot of knowledge for you guys. We like to put this together every once in a while. Next time, come back, because consistency is the key. Just like when you go to church, you keep on putting it in, and eventually you act it out, right? You do the right thing. Anyway, I'm not going to preach to y'all, but I want to thank you for attending. And basically, I want to introduce you to our sponsors. We got Guaranteed Rate. We got Quick Mortgage. If you guys could come up, please. Who else is a sponsor? Who else? That's it. That's it for now. Okay. Oh, Paul. Paul, come on up. Come on up. I just want to introduce to you guys. These people, my name is Raul Hernandez. I didn't introduce myself. Sorry. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor on this team for a while, and I'm very proud to be a realtor from the Grimaldo Group, because we really care about what people do in the next steps in their life. So when you come to us, you're not just another transaction. You're going to get guided to become a millionaire or billionaire. So take it with, it's a serious matter that you're entering our world. All right. Paul, ¿cómo te llamas? Who are you?
So I'm going to give you a lot of info, how to get permit, how to build, and the team is going to tell you how to travel, where we can get better.
Yeah. Sharp as a tack, this guy.
Rodriguez, the money man, mortgage, and also been an investor for many, many years. Ever since my first deal, I'll tell you a little bit.
Awesome.
My name is Grimaldo. I'm a mortgage loan officer as well. And yeah, just here to basically be part of you guys, and also set up my mindset of build a real estate portfolio, so what better way to be here today. So thank you for
Woo-hoo. Thank you, guys. I'm very intimidated when I'm around these guys, because they have a lot of goals that I want to achieve. Carlos and Andres, could you come up here, please? I want to get their little six-pack thing. I want to talk like them. Man, they're so eloquent and so, they're not the typical millennial. Or what are you guys, millennials or?
Gen Z.
Gee whiz. Okay, We're going to pass it on to them. They have a plethora of knowledge.
Can you guys hear me? How's everybody doing today? Awesome. We're going to learn a lot of great stuff today. Carlos and I, we're real estate agents with the Grimaldo Group, and we have a couple slides we want to show you guys just about basically the market in general. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions. So we're just going to clear all those out, kind of get a feel of the room as well, see what you guys feel, what the market and how it's moving today. So, yeah, nonetheless.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, my name is Carlos. I'm again a real estate agent with the Grimaldo Group, and we'll get started.
Awesome. So, well, actually, can we just go back one more? Before we get in, who thinks interest rates are high right now? You think interest rates are high? It's okay. You don't have to be shy. A lot of people think interest rates are high. I mean, that's what you hear on the news all the time, you know, hear from other people. Why do you think they're high?
Look at a number, we just assume.
Yeah. Right now? Okay, right? Who doesn't, right? Definitely better for us, better for our pockets, right? Well, that could be a double-edged sword. So we're actually going to break down a little bit as far as for what the history has been in interest rates. So yeah, we could jump right into it if you want to start with it, Carlos.
All right. So since you mentioned you think they're high, we're gonna show you guys some graphs, and this graph is a Federal Reserve graph. It goes back into history all the way from the 1970s to current day, as we can see. But if we take a look in April of 1971, we were already at 7 point. Sorry. We're already at a 7.3% interest rate, right? So moving forward, 1975, 9.3. And then as we move forward in history to the 1980s, then I mean, as you guys can see, we reached the
18%.
interest rate.
Almost 20%. Isn't that crazy? Did anybody know that? That interest rates were that high back then? I mean, just imagine the people who were financing houses. Like, if you had perfect credit, that's the best interest rate you're going to get. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys shop for cars sometimes and you just go to the dealership and then you ask them, hey, like, I want to finance this car, and they give you like a 15% interest rate and you're like, that's crazy. Imagine going to buy a house and that's the best interest rate you could get, because a lot of people at this time, if they were applying for houses or mortgage or cars, more than likely they would get already in the 20% range. And we're actually in a very similar situation because if you see why, you may ask yourself, okay, how come was there such a big spike in the interest rates? And it was a very similar situation because back then what they did is they wanted to combat inflation. Inflation was very high at that moment. So what the government did is they actually rose interest rates to combat inflation. And we're actually going through something very similar today. And that's the reason why interest rates are rising. And there's a lot of debate if interest rates should go down now or if they should continue to stay where they're at. But we'll get a little deeper into that later.
And then eventually, obviously, you know, the interest rates did start to drop. A lot of people will say, well, you know what, the houses were a lot less back then. But then at the same time, people earned less back then. You know, what you could purchase back then today is, you know, it's not doable. So eventually, you know, we started moving forward to the 1995s. We're already at a 9% interest rate.
So I just want to kind of point out the fact right here in 1995. So if you pretty much see all the way down from the 70s to the 90s, the interest rate average was more than likely around 11%. So right now, us sitting between maybe what, like a 6.5 right now, would say, Ricardo?
5.5.
5.5?
Right now.
Okay. So just imagine everybody who was purchasing homes at that time. I mean, if you got a 9% interest rate in 1995, would you agree that you probably got a better interest rate compared to everybody else? I mean, if a lot of people who ended up purchasing in the 80s, I mean, they got stuck with 11, 12%. So this right here in the 1995, we actually went through a refinance boom because a lot of people decided to refinance because more than likely, if they bought right here, they bought at maybe an 18%, 15%, 14%. They see a 9% and they're like, wow, this is golden. Like I was waiting for this, right? And this is what's actually going to be happening here pretty soon. Since we are at pretty much at like a 5.5, today's interest rates, by the way, just so you guys know, is the lowest it's been since October 2024. So right now we're in a pretty good spot, but we'll get in a little deeper into that as well. All right.
And the 2000s, this is what a lot of people remember, this whole period right here. From the 2000s on, you know, the lower interest rates. Obviously, you know, in the early 2000s, we were still at an 8%. As we started getting closer to 2005, then they started coming down. And do you guys know by any chance, you know, I'm sure many of you guys bought a home in the early 2000s. Did anybody buy a home around that time?
Anybody buy it before the market crash? No? Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. We like to see that.
If you did, I'm pretty sure you guys, you know, got it at a really, really good price as well.
I want to highlight 2005. So what happened in 2005, the market was actually very competitive. Very similar situation because if you see right here, interest rates finally started trickling down. And that's when we actually saw how the market was behaving before the boom. And we'll actually see the graphs as far as for the home prices. But once we look at those graphs, you'll see that home prices actually started to skyrocket in 2005. And their interest rate was at 5.6. Right now, Ricardo said we're about a 5.5 if we can buy you down. So just imagine if the interest rates were to drop another 0.5%, how crazy the market can really get, right? And the good thing is we're in such a sweet spot in Phoenix where there's so much growth coming to the city. For example, I don't know if you guys know about the TSMC. Does that ring the bell to anybody? Anybody know anybody who worked there by any chance? No? That project has been going on for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's projected to go on for another 25 years. And this project is actually working with making microchips for phones, cars, tablets. So right now, they're actually just announced that they're going to be doing about a $200 billion investment in the TSMC. Does anybody know where it's at, by any chance? Where is it at?
303, North Peoria.
Yeah, North Peoria. So right where the 17 and the 303 meet, you'll see it. So just so you guys know, Samsung and Apple just announced that they're going to be fabricating their microchip there, here in Phoenix. So if you think about it, okay, a $200 billion project, like that's a lot of money. Imagine all the contractors who are going to be working there. Do you think they need a place to live? Probably, right? Everybody needs a place to live. Do you think they're going to be buying here in the Phoenix area or they're going to be buying elsewhere? They're going to be buying here. So we have 25 years of guaranteed jobs because of that micro plant. And that's actually bringing in a lot of tech companies. A lot of people don't know this, but Arizona actually has really great tax incentive businesses. So, and that's why we're actually seeing a lot of people coming from California. Unfortunately, we're driving down the freeways and then we see somebody speeding, we see a California plate. Well, it's because they came here because we pay less in taxes compared to everybody else here. So
I got to make a note there too, because I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. He just got hired to work at the TSMC. Who here works in construction? Okay. What are the average wages?
I mean, entry level construction job right here in Phoenix is running around $20 an hour. Supervisor, project manager, you're anywhere up to say 50 up to 300,000.
And there's a lot of those, right?
Yeah.
Well, what I want to emphasize is 20 is the average. This guy got hired on, and he's making $75 an hour. Because a lot of people are thinking, well, there's no jobs that pay that much. There's a lot because is there a shortage where you guys are at? Like, do you guys struggle to get people?
It's like supply and demand. A lot of people don't want to come out here to 150. Right. That's the reason why I'm here. I mean, I moved here because of travel, work, and I actually moved my income to say I live in Arizona because I was getting taxed as a traveler an extra $12,000. So just moving here saved me another $12,000.
Let's go. And that's happening a lot. So what Andres is saying and also emphasizing is the fact that just because you're in an industry or in a place that things don't change, things are changing, guys. And if you're not part of that change, you're going to be left behind. And for those of us that have been in the industry for a little bit, I bought in 2005. the market is very cyclical, and the guys are going to go over that. But we're sitting in a beautiful time bomb, which is going to be exploding in the next few years, and that's why we're going to keep doing these every month so that people understand and know where they're at. Obviously, it is for our business, but also we want to help you guys take advantage of that and be able to see what the possibilities are for the future, and you take advantage of that wealth creation.
And one more comment, just to note about the TSMC. So just imagine the people who are actually working there, not just the contractors, but the engineers fabricating the microchips. Just to give you a little side story, I actually know an agent who had a listing earlier this year in North Phoenix. They had the house listed for like $615 cash. A Taiwanese engineer came in, offered $605 cash. Just let that sink in. So these people are coming with big pockets. A lot of people think that, hey, housing is going to get unaffordable in Arizona. Yeah, it might for Arizonians, right? But people coming down here, I mean, they see the prices. They compare to California. If you see $1 million house, you could buy easily a $400,000 house, and it's going to look even better than that $1 million house in California. So just let that sink in for a little.
Okay,
2010.
so 2005, then we move forward. Do you guys know, I'm sure, what happened?
2010.
Yeah, no, right before that.
Yeah, so basically we had the market crash in 2008, and if you go to 2010, you can see right here, now you can see the interest rates trickling down. You see that? And what a lot of people do is they think this is the norm, right? But if you just take that off, in reality, if you take about an average, a 50-year average, we're sitting about 7.7%. So a lot of people think, 5% interest rate is the normal, but in reality, we just got spoiled for 10 years, if you just see that, right?
And Arizona was still growing in this whole time as it continues to. I'm sure you guys seen everything that's being built in the West Valley, especially, the East Valley as well is growing a lot. So yeah, this is what people remember. And like Andres said, we had 10 years of pretty good interest rates. And then 2015, we seen almost all-time lows, 4%. And do you guys remember what happened here? Or actually, yeah, there's somebody called it. Okay, yeah, so COVID. So obviously, unfortunately, a lot of people suffer from that, lost their jobs. But what did that also create in the inventory was that obviously, the prices started to rise for the homes. People from California, I'm sure everybody knows somebody that moved from California, came out here, maybe sold their home out there and bought two out here. A lot of these prices started skyrocketing in, and especially due to the fact that the interest rates, 2.4%. Imagine buying a home at 2.4%. Does anybody know anyone that bought at that rate, or
did anybody buy during
anybody
COVID by
bought
any
at that
chance?
rate?
You bought in COVID. What interest rate did you get, if you don't mind me asking? 2.5.
2.5.
Wow. Or are you wanting to refinance here soon?
No, we sold it.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Awesome.
Good.
So I actually wanted to ask a quick question. Does anybody know why we had 10 years of lower interest rates? Maybe like just an idea? Anybody? Maybe a lender in the room?
To incentivize buyers to get back into the market, boost up the economy after the crash.
Exactly. Everything is manipulated, guys. So basically, after the 2008 crash, the government wanted lower interest rates because everybody knew that if they bought a house, they thought that they were going to lose it eventually. So a lot of people decided not to purchase anymore. And what the government said, okay, we need to incentivize people to buy because we need to boost the economy. When people are purchasing stuff, that's good because overall people are making money, right? So what they did is they lowered interest rates, and that incentivized a lot more buyers to purchase. Now, if we see COVID, 2.8%, we've never had interest rates like that ever in the history. So now you could ask yourself, okay, how come interest rates dropped so low? And it's a very similar situation like it was in 2008 in the aspect that what happened was a lot of people were scared. Everybody thought the world was going to end. I don't know if you guys thought the world was going to end, but I thought it was going to end. I was watching the news, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, Ebola was going to kill us, and now it's COVID. I'm like, what is going on? So essentially, that's what ended up happening. Everybody was so scared, and the government's like, okay, we need to put a stop to this. So we're going to lower interest rates, and that's when real estate just started booming. Juan was in the industry. That was one of the busiest years that we've had. And it's all due to interest rates, right? A lot of people think, hey, I want to buy when the interest rates drop at 2-3%. So you purchased during COVID, right? Do you know how many offers you had to compete when you purchased during COVID against? I know it was probably a while ago. Probably multiple offers though, right? Yeah, exactly. So I love that you pointed that out because a lot of people were buying houses sight unseen. And yeah, because there was no inventory, right? I mean, you see the pictures, that's the house that looks the best out of all of them. And you're like, hey, I have no other choices. I'm going to go ahead and submit an offer even though I haven't seen this house. Back then, people were offering 20 to 30,000 above asking. Now I want to tell you guys a story. So basically, I think the next one just goes to modern day interest rates, right? 2024. So basically, I want to highlight just a zoom in. So basically in 2022, June of 2022, the market actually reached the peak in prices. So what ended up happening is the lower interest rates from COVID finally peaked, and we actually had 6 months where prices were dropping, which was basically going into 2023, so January. And what ended up happening was interest rates, if you go back during COVID, so they were at 2-3%, right? So pretty much like around April of 2022, the interest rate was actually about 5.25%, okay? Do you think at a 5.25%, the market was busy or was it slow? Any guesses? You think it was busy? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so basically, it was busy. So what ended up happening there, just to give you a little perspective, I was helping out a client. There was only maybe like 3,000 homes available on the market. And at that time, my client had to compete with 19 other offers at a 5.25% interest rate. He didn't get a 3%, he didn't get a 2%, he got a 5.25%, and he had to compete with 19 other offers. When you have to compete with 19 other offers, your room to get closing costs out the door. Has anybody purchased a home in the last 3 years? You? Did you guys get closing costs paid for? Right? That's a beautiful thing. In COVID, I didn't even know you could ask for closing costs. It was that crazy. And basically back then, you had to come up with your down payment. So if you're buying like a $400,000 house at a 3.5%, that's what, 15 grand around there. Now you have to pay for your closing costs. Closing costs typically cost between $6,000 to $8,000. And closing costs, by the way, closing costs is basically title fees, insurance, taxes, and loan fees as well. So that is easily about $6,000 to $8,000. So if you just add that onto what we're talking about, that's $23,000. Now at that time, if you wanted the house, you had to tell the seller, hey, I'm gonna pay you X amount of money cash on top of what the house is worth because I want you to accept my offer. So a lot of people had to come up with $10,000 cash above the house. And then if you wanted to do an inspection, a lot of people were even waiving inspections. So a lot of people think, hey, I got this amazing rate, 2-3%. Yeah, you got an amazing rate, and maybe in the long run, it's gonna be good. But I'd rather buy at a house at a higher interest rate where I'm able to ask for closing costs, get a price reduction, maybe even some repairs done. And then let's say 3-4 years down the line, if interest rates drop to 5%, I could go ahead and refinance, and I have the confidence that my house is going up in value at the same time.
That was happening back then. Some buyers, they were so desperate to buy that they would actually pay the seller's closing costs. It was that bad. So, and one thing that I want to note here, guys, because of the rates going down so low, I mean, that was like free money. If they lend you a 2.8% annually, isn't that like free money? I mean, I would buy, that's when I started buying real estate. And again, maybe people will say he was lucky. But guess what? If you buy now, get a good price, get a good discount, get closing costs paid, and then the rates drop, and if they don't, but if they do, you can just refinance. But if not, you're gonna be at the mercy of the market of the moment, and you're gonna pay that price. Maybe your closing costs, like Andres said, and then maybe even on top of that, pay more.
Exactly.
So,
yep, 100%.
that was historic, and that was like, probably, I hope we see it, but I don't think we're gonna see it again in our lifetime.
All right. And then current day market. Did we go over that one too?
Yeah, I mean, 7% in 2024. Right now, we were speaking with Ricardo, we're about a 6.5%, 6%. So interest rates have been trickling down, which is good news. And the great thing about today is that a lot of people still don't know interest rates have dropped. So you could still jump in before, all the spring buyers come in, because what happens during spring? People do taxes, right? Now, if people do taxes and they get a little extra money, what do you think they're going to want to do with that money? Invest it, probably buy a house, right? So right now we're inclining towards the winter months where it typically does slow down. So a lot of buyers are at an advantage right now because they don't have to compete with so much people. And especially since the interest rates dropped and they're the lowest they've been since October 2024, we're sitting pretty pretty right now as far as for interest rates and getting pretty good deals.
Yeah. Somebody said that, I think it was you back there. You said that the interest rates you thought were high, right? After seeing this, what is your thoughts now? Do you think that we are where we're supposed to be at? Do you think that they're still high, or do you think that on the average, right?
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, because I mean, if you guys, I mean, the graph speaks for itself, and if you guys just do like if we were to do an average line of like where the rates should be at, I mean, like you said, we're right there.
One thing that I also want to emphasize, guys, for these guys that are younger and for you guys that are younger, first of all, can I give them a round of applause? You guys have a huge advantage. Think about it 20 years from now, because one thing that most people don't think and realize is, I buy a house right now at this price, but what's going to happen in 20 years? Forget about the price and forget about the rate. If you don't live in that house, especially for the years that are younger, somebody else is paying that mortgage, and in 20 years, that's going to be almost paid off. Think about it. Because we get so focused on the interest rate, we get so focused on the purchase price that we forget about the time going on. And as I said, you can either live your life just kind of coasting, go to work, rest. We become zombies. Boom, boom. And then we forget the time is passing by. And when you buy these properties and you just wait and you just wait, that's why I think people say I'm lucky, right? Like my buddy that's going to speak, and don't miss that seminar. He owns 300 homes. He's my age, about 46 years old. So just think about the power that you guys have with the age. This guy owns 2 homes already, right? So he's 22 years old.
Yep.
And to me, I'm so proud of that. My daughter, 23 years old, she bought her home too. So it's important that you guys start at a young age. Just think 20 years from now, because people say, oh, I'm still young, I'm in my 30s. Are you? You guys know what the life expectancy was about in the early 1900s? Who knows? About 62. 1 out of 40 people would live to 62. In their mid-40s, they would die. So some of us wouldn't even be here right now. So when you think about the fact that you're young, think twice. And I say this with passion because we don't think about it, guys. Nobody teaches about that, right? We just go, we work, we make good money, but we go spend it. And then we go get to retirement again. That's my main point with this. All right, guys. That gets it right.
So we just, go ahead.
So we just went over that one.
So we're going to go over the closed sales between 2019 and 2024, just to give you guys some perspective as how the movement has been in the last couple of years.
All right. So what do you guys think about the inventory right now? Do you guys think there's a lot of homes, a little bit of homes available, enough for everybody, enough for Arizona? Well, we're going to take a look. This is an estimate right here, 71,879 homes sold in 2020, which was around the COVID era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was COVID, guys. 71,879 homes in 1 year. That's pretty crazy. And that's due to the interest rates. As we were seeing, the interest rates, they're about 2-3%. And that's what you're going to get at a 2-3% interest rate.
72,435 homes sold in 2021.
So this was still COVID. We were still living pretty low interest rates. When we actually started seeing a change in the market was in 2022, and you will see that reflected right now.
54,816 homes sold in 2022.
So I was telling you guys, in June of 2022, the market reached a peak in prices, right? And then we actually started seeing a drop in prices for about 6 months after that. And the reason why is because interest rates were at 2-3% in the beginning of the year, and then they shot up to 6%. I remember making calls around like November, October time, telling people, hey, prices are dropping. You guys have been waiting for this, and you guys are able to negotiate. And a lot of people, what did they tell me? I'm going to continue to wait for prices to drop. I was like, bro, I literally called you in January, and you were telling me you wanted the prices to drop, and now they're dropping, and now you're not wanting to buy. And it's funny because we'll see in the prices, but actually in 2023 they actually started to go up. So what happens was it was a whole correction. So the market was too crazy. COVID was not a normal years more than anything, and the market corrected itself more than anything. And then we could jump into 2023 right now as well.
45,760 homes sold in 2023.
So 2023, 2023, it was a different year because at that year we were pretty much sitting between a 7 to 8% interest rate the whole time. I mean, a lot of people think that interest rate's really high, but if you look at that number, still 45,000 homes sold at that time. I mean, that's not a little number, and we're not even expanding all of state of Arizona. We're just pretty much looking in Maricopa County right now. So 45,000 homes in a market where everybody thought it was trash, which is pretty funny.
2024, 45,636 homes sold, which is it's really not a big difference.
No, not a big jump. And we in 2024 was still kind of a similar year. We actually, like around September time of 2024, we saw interest rates drop out 6% at that time. Right now, like Ricardo said, we're between 5.5, 6. And at that time, we were doing so many applications. But the majority of the year, interest rates even rose up to 8% at that time. But still, 45,600 homes. And actually, in 2024, it was a bit of a slower market as far as for appreciation on homes. We saw about a 4% average. So if you bought a $400,000 house, that's roughly about 18 grand. I mean, that's not bad. For a slow year, 18 grand, I'll take that. For just sleeping in your house.
All right, now we're gonna take a look at today's market and what that looks like. So currently there's 13,267 homes for sale, active and coming soon, which means the coming soons are gonna be listed pretty quickly here. So the question was, do you guys think that's enough, a little bit for Arizona? If there's 13,000 homes available for the way Arizona is growing right now, do you guys think that this actually doesn't include new construction?
And this is single-family detached homes, so regular homes.
Family detached, active listings here in Maricopa County. Right?
Yeah, so we're excluding condos, townhouses, etc. But still, 13,267 homes. I mean, I drove down the freeway this year, and I drive down the 303, and I still saw a bunch of cars. And then that freeway used to never be packed. Yeah. So just think about driving when the next time you guys are driving down the I-10 on rush hour, and you see this number. Do you think that's enough?
For the people, I mean, that's probably what you see in one day, just in the highway.
Exactly.
So, remember this number for those of you who are good in math. Now we're gonna take a look at the next one. Now, there's 4,726 homes under contract. What does that mean? That they're gonna close within a week or the next 30 days, right? So out of those 13,000 homes, there are 13,000 and some change. What was it? Yeah, 13,267. There's 47, so almost 5,000 homes under contract, which means that they're gonna close in the next, week to 30 days.
Does anybody think the market is dead right now? What are you guys hearing? No, you don't think so? Okay. Awesome. I like that. Anybody else? I mean, if everybody sees the news, everybody sees what? Price reductions, housing markets crashing, this and that. 4,700 homes. So 4,700 families are in the process of purchasing a home right now. Do you think that's a lot or a little?
Out of the